language impairment. I'm not going to let the public school test it. I'm going to find my private speech pathologist to do the evaluation. I'm going to find my private school psychologist to do the evaluation. I'm going to find my private physical therapist to do the evaluation. I'm going to find my private occupational therapist to do the evaluation if I can afford it. Why? What's wrong with letting the school evaluate your child? After all, your tax dollars affords your child a free evaluation. The problem with letting the school do it is that it's always a hustle for cash. Your child is always going to qualify for special ed if Detroit public schools are doing the testing. Because your child is an economic stimulus package for Detroit public schools. Once Dr. Umar diagnoses your child with a learning disability, an emotional disturbance, a speech and language impairment, mild mental retardation, autism, deafness, blindness, traumatic brain injury, orthopedic impairment, multiple disability, developmental delay, the minute I give them a label, that label is like a check being written. The label is a check being written. And it gets cashed when that label is sent to the State Department of Education. And they execute a transfer of funds for your child. Money is transferred to Detroit from the State Department of Michigan for every child who's walking around with a label. In other words, miseducated black children in Detroit is an economic stimulus package to Detroit public schools. No, your child is their school's welfare check. Special ed is a welfare check for schools. And the sad thing about it is children who are sentenced to special ed are twice abused. They were abused for being miseducated. They were abused for being misdiagnosed. And now they get abused again for being placed in special ed. Look at the double jeopardy. First, I'm going to make sure he don't learn. I'm going to make sure he don't learn. And then when he doesn't learn, I'm going to cash him in for some special ed. And I can only do this with parent permission. Which is why you are always an accomplice to the crime of miseducation. Because nothing happens in the school without your permission. So you can stop telling me, Dr. Umar, they put my son in special ed. They didn't do nothing. Start saying, Dr. Umar, we put my son in special education. Dr. Umar, they said my son has ADHD. No, Dr. Umar, I gave them permission to evaluate my son for ain't no daddy at home disorder. I gave permission for that. That comes from you. When did we get ADD? Attention Deficit Disorder, 1980. Is that a coincidence? Hell no. That's the same year that the CIA dropped crack cocaine off in the inner cities. Black men unable to find a job begin participating in the illegal economy. Crack, sending millions of them to jail. As a result, mother was left home to raise a boy on her own. That's not a responsibility of a mother. A mother's job is to love, to nurture, to encourage, to support. The father's job is to discipline, to set the boundaries, to teach self-control, to give out the discipline. When the father is not there, the discipline tends to wane. And as a result, a boy develops a lack of self-control as a habit. Is it a psychological illness? Is it a mental disease? Is it a medical problem? Of course not. But because America will never take responsibility for being the cause of ADHD, they simply change the concept of fatherlessness and made it a disorder. ADHD is fatherlessness. That's all it is. It is a boy craving his father, masculine energy that has been snatched from the home. And what do children do when they go to school if they don't get enough attention at home from their parents? How many of us in here were class clowns and didn't understand why back then, but we know now? We sons are doing. It's not a disease, it's fatherlessness. But then I get some fathers who will say, well, you're wrong, Doc, because my son has ADHD and I'm home. Well, if the son is diagnosed with ADHD and the father is home, then it's not ain't no daddy at home disorder, it's ain't no discipline at home disorder. And then some people will say, well, the daddy is home and there's discipline being given out in the home. Well, guess what? If the daddy is home and the daddy is on his job, then ADHD stands for attachment disruption due to home dysfunction. What am I talking about? I'm talking about children who live in homes where mom and dad fight every day. I'm talking about children who live in homes where mom brings a different boyfriend home every day, or daddy brings a different girlfriend home every day. I'm talking about homes where children live with no guarantee of when they're going to see their parent again when they drop them off from school. It's an attachment rupture where children cannot predict when they're going to see their parents or when they're going to spend time with their parents. It develops into inattention. Why? Because I got better things to think about than Christopher Columbus. Why? I got more going on in my life than Helen Keller. Why? I got more important things to worry about than learning the Pledge of Allegiance. Why? School is irrelevant. So since school is irrelevant, the curriculum is irrelevant, the 7 hours I spend in school will not be spent learning, they will be spent yearning over my personal problems. And that's what's going on with our sons in school. But somebody made you believe giving them rhythm will solve it. Giving them conservative will solve it. Giving them cycler will solve it. Giving them finance will solve it. That's not going to solve it. It's going to make the problem worse. Because Vyvanse didn't start the problem. Concerta didn't start the problem. They're substituting drugs for the daddy. Before the daddy would deal with this misbehavior, now the drug deals with the misbehavior. So 1980 we get ADD. But there was a problem with that because ADD did not automatically mean your son needed medication because there's no drug that can make you pay attention. So ADD by itself was not sufficient enough. So in 1987, they changed the label from ADD to ADHD. Now every boy can get medication. Some of you let 3-year-olds get diagnosed with ADHD. 5-year-olds diagnosed with ADHD. 7-year-olds diagnosed with ADHD. Have you even read the criteria for ADHD? Fails to give close attention to detail. Has difficulty sustaining attention. Loses things necessary to get his work done. Acts like he's driven by a motor. Has difficulty sitting still. Leaves his seat when he's supposed to stay seated. Has difficulty playing quietly. What child plays quietly? Blurts out answers without waiting his turn. You know what I'm describing to you? I'm describing to you regular boy behavior. This is regular boy behavior. ADHD is regular alpha male behavior. But when schools are ran by women, the only behavior that is acceptable is effeminate behavior. And if a boy can't act like a girl, he's considered to be a problem. Your son don't have a problem. He's not a girl. And schools are not designed to teach boys. Schools are designed to teach girls. So can they do something about it? Of course. Give every black boy in Detroit public schools a strong heterosexual black male teacher. You cut ADHD in half. You cut suspension in half. You cut dropout in half. You cut special ed in half. You quadruple the test scores. Why? What is it about putting a black man in that class? It's because many boys will have a black man at home, and many of them with the opportunity to be nurtured by masculine energy will break their back in order to please a man at the front of that classroom who looks like them. But the problem is The problem is, schools have always been empires for white women. White women represent most teachers in public school. White women represent most teachers in charter school. White women represent most teachers in independent school. White women represent most teachers in parochial school. Education is the white woman's queendom, and the police department is the white man's kingdom. In other words, the extermination of black men and the marginalization of black boys for most or many American white households is a family business. My wife will miseducate this black behind, and I'm going to incarcerate this black behind. Have you ever asked yourself, how many of my children's teachers are married to police officers? How many of my children's teachers are married to men of the Ku Klux Klan? How many of them are married to white males who cannot stand African men? You think the teacher leaves her biases at the front door when she goes to work? You really believe that? Even though the research, white people's research, even says that teachers spend more attention teaching children in the classroom who look the most like their own children at home. So if the teacher is white and teachers spend most attention on children who look like their own, if your son is blue, black, purple with a nappy head, even if he's the most brilliant child in the school building, how much one-on-one time does he get? Racism, brothers and sisters. Racism. And then they're going to keep testing our children. Another test. Another state test. Every other month a test. Do you know why they test them like this? First of all, tests were brought to America as a numerical way to do what the Jim Crow sign used to do. The Jim Crow sign used to say whites over here, blacks over here. But racism got more sophisticated in the post-civil rights era. So instead of excluding blacks on the basis of color, you will now exclude them on the basis of a number. Now, he doesn't go to Harvard because his SAT scores wasn't high enough. Now, he doesn't go to the special high schools in Detroit because he didn't score high enough on the Michigan State assessment. It's the same Jim Crow! But instead of using letters, we'll use numbers, because when we use numbers, it makes it look like we're being objective. The greatest trick white people ever pulled on black people was making you think they could stop being racist long enough to treat you like you need to be. When you really understand racism, you understand that there's no time out for racism. And yes, every white person is racist when you understand racism. What do you mean, Dr. Umar? I mean racism is a non-emotional system. I'm going to say it again. Because some of you in Detroit believe that if a white person likes you personally, it automatically follows that they care about African people collectively. Do you realize a white person can love you to death and hate your race? Racism has nothing to do with a white person's personal opinion for any particular Negro. You can eat with them, you can sleep with them, you can work with them, you can live with them, and they will still give silent approval to the extermination of black boys by Detroit white police officers. It is not personal, it is business. Some of you don't get it. You say me and that white girl was friends for years. We went to middle school together. We went to high school together. We was roommates in college together. She was there when I had my baby. Why? I don't know. I had a crack in the room when we was giving birth. But she was there when I had my baby. We were working on the same job. A promotion came up for which she was not qualified. For which you were qualified. She's been your girlfriend since the 6th grade. You guys are now in your 30s. The promotion came up husband and our children. So why did she overlook me for the promotion? Because what she did for you and your family was personal. The reason she gave that job to another cracker instead of you is because that was about the business of maintaining white supremacy. And the problem with us Africans, the problem with us African people is we don't know how to separate personal from business when we deal with white folks. In fact, you'd be so traumatized by the fact they even act like they like you that it turns you into an infant where all you seek is the gratification from your oppressor with a smile. Black people are still in love with white people. And until we understand that we have had a 500-year-old love affair with Anglo-Saxons, we'll never fix our problem. For example, Christmas just passed. Many of you spent most of the disposable income that you saved all year long. And you took your disposable income and went to white stores to buy useless junk for you and your children. Now listen to me, because I'm going to teach you a little something about black economics. Guess what? You didn't go and buy that merchandise because you needed it from white folks. The reason you purchased that stuff from white people wasn't for you or your children because you did not need it. You bought it because you love to see white people happy. Still further, you believe that the only way you can be worth something, because you've been taught that your name means nothing. You as a person are nothing. So the only way you can vicariously add value to yourself is to replace your name that your parents gave you or you gave yourself with the names of famous white people. Why did you buy a $200 pair of Air Jordans? Don't say you bought it for quality. You know why? Because the Air Jordan sneaker is sold under 3 different names. And one of those 3 names is Pro Wing, and they are sold in Payless. The exact same sneaker from the exact same factory for $40, but you paid $200. Why did you buy that Louis Vuitton pocketbook? Louis Vuitton pocketbooks are sold under 3 different names from the same factory, and you can buy that bag for as low as $25. Same leather, same quality, same finish. So why did you get the $25 from Pro Wings? $25 Pro Wings from Payless. Why did you have to get the $200 pair for Foot Locker? Same sneaker, but you had to get yours from Foot Locker. Why? Because you bought the Air Jordans not for the sneaker and not for the quality, but to wear the white person's name on your body. The same way our ancestors had to do in slavery. Most of what you buy it because you believe having white people's names on your body adds value to your life. You will never understand black folks until you understand this. Black people are happy we think it makes us look better than other black people. Most of you are going into debt to outdo the next Negro. Racism is a business. It is the business of white supremacy, keeping white people on top by any means necessary, even if it means letting a black person do the dirty work. Racism don't change because you have an Obama. Racism don't change because you have a LeBron. Racism don't change because you have a Jay-Z, a Condoleezza Rice, a Colin Powell. In fact, when they put black people in front, you know that racism is about to intensify because black folks out front really have any power. Detroit don't need a black mayor. Detroit needs black power to control the mayor, whatever color his skin may be. Until you understand black power, until you understand black power, we'll never get anywhere, brothers and sisters. We'll never get anywhere until you understand power. You got some people, they spend all day studying laws in America, as if the laws are going to free black folk. We got other people who spend all day studying the Bible, as if passing the Bible is going to do something for black. Okay? Nothing wrong with that as a strategy. But white people are in charge, not because they're smarter than you. White people are in charge, okay, simply because they have organized more power collectively than you do, because you fail to understand that power is a team sport. Power is a team sport. No individual Jew got where they are by themselves. Jews were able to take over the financial mechanism of the world through teamwork. The Irish work through a team. The Arabs of Michigan work as a team. That's how they own all the gas stations. And how do you work as a team? You have to be willing to subvert the personal agenda of one own ego. You have to be willing to submerge the personal agenda of one's own ego for the greater good of the collective. Why is that so hard for black folks? Because you are the only people in the world who have been indoctrinated with a consciousness of individualism. We operate as radical individuals. This is why you can come across some black people and say, black power? I'm not black, I'm an individual. How many of y'all have met this nonsense? Black people, I am not black. I have a little bit of Cherokee, a little bit of Native American. My great-great-grandfather was an Arab. They will break down every ethnicity in their blood to disidentify from their blackness. We are in the process of disidentifying from who we are. A black person who finds out they have a drop of another race in their bloodstream will celebrate like they hit the damn lottery. I just found out my great-great-great-grandfather was Greek. They don't even let you off the boat in Greece. And you bragging about the people who won't even own up to you. When the last time you see a white person brag about their great-great-great-grandfather? They don't do it. Because the pride is identified with the white blood, not the black. That's why we are the only people who don't identify as race. Yeah, Chinese got Muslims, they got Christians, they got Buddhists, they got Taoists, they got Catholics. There's even Chinese Jehovah's Witnesses. But guess what? When it comes time to solve the problems of Chinese people, religion is put to the side. Why? Because it's superficial. We are solving Chinese problems today. Look at the white man. America can't stand Russia. Russia don't like Britain. Britain think they're better than France. France think they're better than Belgium. Belgium think they're better than Portuguese. But whenever something happens that threatens white rule, whenever something happens that threatens white rule, the petty cultural differences are put to the side for the collective benefit of white folk. Look at Arabs. Iraqis don't necessarily like Afghanis. They have issues with Saudis. Saudis got issues with Kuwaitis. Yes! They got petty cultural conflicts. But guess what? When it comes to the collective agenda of the Arab initiative, all of that until you self-destruct because you have been engineered to love hating on each other more than freedom. And until you value your freedom more than you love engaging in petty differences, we will never overcome this situation. What are the rules of white supremacy? Rule number one, white people do not share power with blacks under any circumstance. If you disagree with me, give me a historical example of white folk who shared power with black people. 15th century, 14th century, 16th century, 17th century. Can you give me a business that blacks and whites shared equally where the white did not manipulate the black out of their share of the ownership? Anybody ever heard of Def Jam and Russell Simmons? Does Russell own Def Jam now? Hell no. His Jewish partner owns the whole company now. White folks don't share power with blacks. So whenever you hear Negro talking about we have to work together and do this together, you know you're dealing with an idiot or a trainer. Well, that white person don't even know that white person. How do you know they're going to work together against us? Because they have a shared set of intercultural values. There's certain things that they're going to do with black people no matter what because you are black. And this is part of the consciousness and the thinking of those people. When you walk into an A-Rab gas station, none of the A-Rabs in that store might know you, but they all know that none of them will do anything to help you. It's part of the collective consciousness. But black folks, we ain't collective about nothing but something. When you walk into a room with black folks, you can't assume nothing. You can't assume we like each other. You can't assume we know we black. You can't assume we believe in God. You can't assume we're heterosexual. You can't assume nothing when you walk into a room with black folks. Because everybody is an individual. Now, I want to go back to the schools for a minute. Parents, start reading the paperwork. The schools have gotten real clever, and they're starting to lie about what they're asking you to do. In other words, schools are no longer saying we want to put it in special ed. They're not saying that. They're saying that we would like to do some work with it and see if we can get it up. The word special ed was never mentioned, so you don't think it's special ed. You sign that paper. Next thing you know, he's in special ed. Listen to me, parents. Anytime you have to sign something, anytime you have to sign something, that is your signal that they're about to do something with my child that is above and beyond the regular education setting. Signatures are only required when I'm going to do something extra with your child. I don't need a signature to tutor your child. I don't need a signature to suspend your child. I don't need a signature to hold them after school. I don't need a signature to put them in a special reading program. I need a signature for special ed testing. Parents, beware. And stop going to school meetings by yourself. Too many of us are going without a witness. You have to stop doing that. When you go without a witness, you give them the power to lie and misrepresent what actually happened in the meeting. I don't care if you got to pull a brother off the corner selling weed. Don't go to that meeting by yourself. I don't care if it smells like straight crime. Tell him you like to come and sit with me with these white folks. I got to eat and I need a witness. I'm serious about that. And that includes black fathers. Too many black fathers that get restraining orders. Too many black fathers that get kicked out of schools, never allowed to return. How does it happen, black father? Because you went by yourself. It's tough. He said, I don't need to go to nobody. Who are we talking about? I got the white folks in check. So you went up there and you told that teacher, your son ain't going to special ed. You don't care what she got to say. And she tried to keep on pushing the point. You looked at her and said, I told you he ain't going. And she automatically said that his eyes dilated, and the vein in his head got very large. And he posed himself as if he would strike me. And so I ducked under the table and accidentally hit my head, and I think I got dizzy. And the next thing you know, you got a restraining order because of what the white woman thought you were about to do. Black father, take it back up with you. Parents, the Christmas gifts. Most of you bought your children of higher order academic skills. Listen, you brought children, many of whom are already struggling in school. You brought them gifts that will see to it that they struggle even more. You bought cell phones, tablets, HD TVs, video games. The average black child spends about 30 hours a week doing video games and only 45 minutes doing their homework. In other words, you are setting your son up for prison. You are financing his future incarceration under the Christmas tree. You might as well buy handcuffs next year. Because this is what you are doing. How many of you bought encyclopedia? How many of you bought a dictionary? How many of you bought a thesaurus? How many of you bought academic enrichment programs? And you talk about Detroit public schools aren't teaching these children anything. You're absolutely right. But neither are you. We went to KwaZulu, got a chance to go back to Shaka Zulu's graveyard. We went to Johannesburg. We went to Soweto. Had a chance to visit Nelson Mandela's home, museum. I was supposed to meet with Queen Mother Winnie, but when I was in Joburg, she was at the Cape, and when I flew to Cape, she had to come back to Joburg, so I'll meet with her when I get back in April, I think, or May, when I go back to South Africa. Brothers and sisters in South Africa, Tanzania, are catching the same hell you catch. And you know what I told our brothers and sisters in South Africa? I said, listen, you all got your independence in 1994. You got your so-called freedom in 1994. I said, do you know what black people are remembering this year? Their 150th year of so-called independence. Black folk went out of slavery for about 50. South Africa, you've been out for 25 years. I said, if you can do anything to protect or prepare yourself for what these white folks in South Africa are about to do, study the mistakes of your black American brothers. The same game they played on you, they played in South Africa. Let me give you one. We want to give you the right to vote. Check it out. They're telling black South Africans that you are free and equal because you can cast a ballot. But you don't get access to wealth to create a future. Most of South Africa's wealth is in the same hands of the same Europeans who created apartheid. The Dutch and the British still dominate South Africa's economy. But because you have a vote, that's supposed to make everything all right. That's what you fell for. In Detroit, you be running around wasting your time on who running for office. That's irrelevant in the larger scheme. You should be focusing your attention on who really controls the distribution of wealth in your city. Not who sits in the mayor's office. Who controls the distribution of wealth? That's what you need to know. In South Africa, your brothers and sisters are being given no access to opportunity. They can't build up, but they're being told you to go to college. Same thing in Detroit. You can make your life better by going to college. So you go to college, and you get your bachelor's degree. And you get out of college, and you go look for a job. They say you're not qualified enough. You only got a 4-year bachelor's, that's like a high school diploma, that's nothing. You go back, you get your first master's degree. You say, okay, I got my master's now, I'm a master. Let me go back. You apply for the job again, still not qualified enough. Let me get a second master's. You go back, get your second master's, third master's, come back, you still ain't qualified enough. Let me just go get the doctorate. You go get your PhD, JD, PsyD, MD, and now you come back and you say, I'm ready now, I know I can get the job. They say, we're sorry, but this position was reserved especially for someone with only a master's degree. I'm afraid your qualifications are too much And what keeps black people trapped under this invisible system of economic apartheid is that you cannot walk into a bank right now and take out $1 million loan. The Arab skin, the Latino skin, the East Indian skin, the Native American skin, and then they'll turn around and tell black people, you are lazy. That's why you don't own nothing in Detroit. That's not the reason you don't own nothing in Detroit. It's because they don't give you access to wealth so you can build. Where is your economic stimulus package? Latinos got it. Arabs got it. Black folks don't got it. And because we don't understand the philosophy of political teamwork, a black person who becomes the first of anything in Detroit is so stuck up on himself that he don't want to help another brother get to where he got. We will keep it a damn secret, but when a white person wants to know, he will happily train the crack up, and before you know it, the European that took over the whole damn industry. Crabs in the barrel. That is us to a T. And none of us want to be accountable. We don't know how we don't want to be held accountable for our self-hate. Because whenever you talk about self-hate, you never include yourself. You always talk about something, yeah, they don't like to work together. They don't like to donate no money. They love fighting. But you never said we one time. How are you any different from the collective you're talking about? You are no different from the collective you are talking about. This is the system. How do white people sleep in peace in Detroit? All these black folks and white folks that sleep in peace. I'm not even talking about peace from violence. I'm talking about peace from a political, economic takeover. You know how they can sleep? Surrounded by their nose. Because they condition you. And if anybody in here thinks slavery is over, let me give you this one. Let me tell you how I know you are more in slavery now than you was 160 years ago. Black people are the only people in America who are comfortable, absolutely comfortable, having zero control over their community. You are the only, you don't have a problem not going to the gas station. You don't have a problem not running the hospital. You don't have a problem seeing where the taxi money go. You don't have a problem with the police not looking like you. You don't have a problem with white teachers teaching your children. You don't have a problem having no power. Nobody else is like that. What's the first thing the Chinese do when they get off an airplane in America? I don't care if it's the airport, I don't care if it's Philadelphia, I don't care if it's Houston, I don't care if it's Las Vegas. The first thing they look for is where are we going to start our economic empire? The first thing they look for. It can be the dirtiest stopping go in the hood, but they own it. And what's the first thing they teach their children? Mommy and daddy might have to work for white folks, but you will not. Now, black folks, you have no problem slaving your whole life for white folks. All they have to do is give you a title, and that's your damn problem. You don't want no power, you just want a title. So all the white thing got to do is call you the senior vice president to the third assistant vice president of the deputy district manager of the neighborhood collective order beneath the trash collector. Content with me one enemy of American society is the alpha male. You don't believe me? Go to a town called Jerusalem, Virginia, where a black prophet named Nathaniel Turner in the 1830s said God gave him a mission to free his people from bondage. And he got together with a couple of his homies, Hart and Travis, and some of the queens on the plantation in Jerusalem. And on the night of August the 21st, my birthday, they got together and decided that we were going to kill as many white folks as we can. And they went from house to house and killed everything white they saw: dogs, cats, mice, flies. Even now, if you mention the name Nat Turner in Jerusalem, Virginia, white people cringe because he was an unapologetic African alpha male. And that's what we need in the black community. Unapologetic alpha males, not the skinny jeans of feminazi that they're trying to make our boys become. We have to get over that. Too much sugar is being put in the black boys' Kool-Aid. And we got to do something about that. It's getting out of control. It's insane. That's why we need the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, so someone can tell your son that your job is to be a man. Or Dr. Umar, what if I want to be a woman? To be a woman could be the greatest sin you can commit, young man, because God made you a man with a mission and for a purpose. And to change God's purpose is to turn yourself into a monstrosity. You ain't just a male, you're a man. And what is the difference between a male and a man? A male is a biological species. A man is a biological species with a spiritual agenda. A male versus a man. Testosterone. Some of the feminist sisters went against me. I don't hate no feminists. I love you, you're just confused. Somebody made you think that gender oppression was the primary issue facing blackness. What makes your issues with your man different from the white woman's issues with her man? When the white woman fights sexism against the white man, she's actually fighting the man in control of the system. When the black woman fights her man, you're fighting a man who has been victimized by the system. If you, black feminists, see, the white feminist is fighting white male systematic oppression. The black feminist is fighting black male systematic oppression. We just got one problem, sisters. If the black man is systematically oppressing the black woman, please show me in what institution we are doing this. What do black men control? What do we own through which we can systematically discriminate against our system? What black man here can keep a black woman from getting a job? What black man here can keep a black woman from going to college? What black man here can keep a black woman from her children? What black man here can keep a black woman from getting quality health care? What black man here can keep a black woman from getting a promotion on a job? The black man don't control no institutions. So how can he systematically oppress you? He can't. So do you know what that means? That means your feminism is nothing more than another strategy of white supremacy to further attack and destroy the unapologetic African alpha male. That's all the hell it is. Quote me, undivided. contradictions with the way the black man treats her and conducts himself within the family and the community. You can address that with us sisters, but you address that as an African womanness, not as a reactionary belonging to the white female's feminism. We got molestation, we got rape, we got domestic abuse against black women off the chain. Yes, you got issues to attack with us, but you want to go and link up with the white woman? And you and the white woman going to stand in solidarity? Hold on. Do you know that when great-great-great-great-great-grandma was on the plantation, do you know her greatest enemy was not the white man? It was his damn wife. Do you know why the black woman got whipped so bad? Because the white woman made the white man beat you to prove he didn't want you more than her. And you got the audacity. You got the audacity. You got the audacity. 150 years later to show solidarity with the very woman who was responsible for your child being sold 10 states away. It was that white woman who made the white man sell that baby he had with that black woman. The white woman was the cause of your hell. And she still is. Because after she leaves the feminist meeting with you, she go home to her white man and cook and clean and love and hug his ass. She's a warrior in public, but at home she's a wife that always wanted. You think to be equal with a man, you got to be ultra masculine. So you got sisters who put on a suit of thuggery image. Harder than any brother in Detroit. Swagalicious. That's the white woman. You gotta act like a man to be equal to a man. No, you don't. When God created the universe, he created an equal balance between masculine energy and feminine energy. And one is not greater than the other. See, black woman, the white woman, she didn't have no choice but to fight. Because going back to Greco-Roman history, and they've only been literate and intellectual since 1000 BC. There's no intellectual heritage in Europe till 1000 BC. But since they had an intellectual heritage, they have hated the woman. They say you're the reason Adam fell from grace. They say you work with the devil. That's why the Roman Catholic Church won't even let their priests get married, because you are the damn devil. If you don't believe me, study a philosophy. Study a philosophy. So white women are dealing with a cultural legacy of female domination. Show me that parody in traditional African civilization. Do you know in most African cultures, the king is not the supreme ruler? In most African villages and cultures, east, west, central, south, southwest, the queen mother supersedes the king. When the king makes a decision, the queen mother can overturn it. And you got the nerve talking about some damn feminism to black men who were born loving African women. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you a little story. Once upon a time, there was a group of people called the Sun People. They lived under the sun. The sun provided them in abundance with everything they needed. If they needed food, it just grew from the ground. If they needed fruit, it fell from the tree. If they needed drinking water, they could go and get it from the fresh lakes. Whatever they needed, they got it. They needed clothing. The sun gave them all the animals they could possibly have, so they could make all the furniture and housewares and clothing that they needed. They were the sun. settled for the mice and the worms and the creatures of the ground. There wasn't no fresh drinking water. They had to clean their urine, and sometimes not clean their urine and drink that. If they got too thirsty and it didn't rain and the ice didn't thaw out, they would simply kill each other and drink the blood of the skulls of their conquered dead. If they desired meat, they couldn't find no animals because there were too many animals interested in living in ice. They would have to kill each other, and thus cannibalism was born. Because they lived under ice, they believed in being stingy because there was never enough to go around. They believed in taking all of what they found, even if they didn't need it, because they grew up under a climate and a culture that was based on the belief that everything we need will one day run out. These people fought with each other. They wanted to dominate everything because they were always scared that the ice would return. One day, these ice people ventured into the land of the sun people. And they came and they saw and they said, I'll be damned. They got fruit falling from the damn trees. Fish of every kind, having barbecues, watermelon, coconut, kiwis, apples, and we living in the damn ice eating mice, worms, and maggots. And they were so jealous of the sun people that they got together and said, guess what? We're going to punish him for being blessed by God with abundance while we suffer with scarcity. And so the ice people started to steal, and the ice people started to take, and the ice people had no regard for the feelings of the sun people because after all, ice people have an ice temperament. They are cold-blooded, just like the damn ice. And the sun people didn't understand. The ice people started stealing everything. And then one day the ancestors came to the sun people and said, you made a mistake. And he failed to recognize that although they may be people, they are not your people. And the ancestors said to the sun people, if you are not careful, one day the ice people will own the entire land of the sun and force your ass to go live under the ice. And being the nice people you are, when the ice people came, you fed them, you cut their hair, you taught them that there was a such thing as underwear. You taught them how to cook food, that you don't eat the meat raw, you turn it over a few times, put some paprika on it. You brought them some African black soap and taught them how to wash their funky behinds, how to shave their armpits and shave their hairy back. And then the sisters came out with some hot shea butter and rubbed them down to they be nice and lathery. And guess what? The more the sun people tried to teach the ice people how to live civilized, the more the ice people grew to hate you. Deep down they said, look at them. Look at them. They show us such contempt. They consider us to be beneath them, teaching us how to cook and clean and eat and shave. The more you help, the more they hate you. Africans, you are the sun people. And the European is the ice people. You have two different temperaments. You have a sun temperament. He has a ice temperament. And the Arab has a sand temperament. And that's why Arab acts just like his cousin, the white man. Because he lived in the sand, which ain't too much better than living in the damn ice. That's why we're the nicest people in the world. We never had a reason to fight, kill, exterminate, genocide, nobody. You've always been at peace with your environment, but that's the problem now, because you don't know how to control that good African nature of yours. That's right. Some people, if a snake is crawling by in Detroit, shit them on. Right? 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 You ever been at the zoo, you take the safari ride, and you see the lions and the elephants and the giraffes, you cool. I don't know. And you keep going. And you see a white boy who can jump out the damn safari jeep. I want to see if the lion will talk back to you. He don't know how to live in harmony. We know that there's a time for rain, there's a time for sun. There's a time for tornado, there's a time for earthquake. We know that. White man say, I'm going to subdue all the forces of nature. I'm going to create my own damn earthquakes, my own damn sunstorms. He don't know how to live in nature. We know that there's crops that we can plant and the crops grow food. White man say, I'm going to make my own genetically modified crop. He don't know how to leave nothing to nature. He is against nature. And why is the white man against nature? Because as far as he's concerned, nature is against him. Because it left us up in the ice with nothing. And so everywhere that white man goes, he takes that burden and he takes that. He has what we call it. You have somebody who have a animosity, a holding grudge. The white man got a grudge against the African. And some of y'all still don't understand it. You say, Dr. Umar, we in Detroit, we don't own nothing. Have the school shut down. So few black businesses, and white folks still picking with us. Wow, I'll tell you why. It doesn't matter how low the African is. As long as there's one black man left and one black woman left, you can repopulate the whole race. So the white man will not stop until none of you are left. Anybody ever wonder why the black men were lynched? They always castrated the brothers. Now they hung Irish because remember Irish weren't white till 1940. They hung Italians because Italians weren't white until 1940. They hung European Jews. They weren't white until 1940. But they never castrated an Italian when they lynched them. They never castrated a Jew when they lynched them. They never castrated an Irishman when they lynched them. But they always castrated a brother. You know why? Because the castration was a symbolic extermination of the black man's genetic superiority. Listen, the white man ain't jealous of you, black man, for the physical size of your fathers. Because not all black men are blessed. Let's just keep it real. MC Weedy, let's keep it real. Okay? Some of y'all get it wrong. Yeah, white man jealous of you, so we hung up. Not everybody. Okay? What he's jealous of is not your size, but your genetic superiority. Whatever you touch that bears child will be of your race. Whatever the black woman bears forward in birth is of your race. You are the only person who can mix with any other person and produce yourself. No one else got that power. That's why he can't stand you. So that's jealousy number one. If the black man wants to exterminate the white man, he can literally reproduce him out of existence. If the white man wants to exterminate the black man, he can't reproduce him out of existence. He has to unnaturally exterminate. And that's why he's so addicted to the gun. Because the gun, as our good sister Dr. Francis Cresswell talks about, the gun is called the great equalizer. Because as far as the white man is concerned, this weapon makes me equal to your weapon. And that's why when you hold his weapon perpendicular, it looks exactly like your weapon. which was done by the government. When I got to Paris, I keynoted the Pan Afrikan event. They took me on a tour of Napoleon's Paris. And in Paris, the architecture, just like Washington, D.C., is laid out according to Nile Valley culture. They have a pyramid there. Chinese have a pyramid. I think the East Indians have a pyramid. I was keynote speaker last month with Dr. Monica Ringer at the Black Consciousness Conference at Cal State Long Beach. They have a pyramid on the campus. Why does every civilization feel the need to build an obelisk, a sphinx, and a pyramid? What is it about the obelisk, the sphinx, and the pyramid that the French, the Chinese, the East Indian, the Arab, the white man in America has to build one? Because that is an admission that the greatest of all cities comes from Africa. And because you built it, there's a jealousy. Because what you did before, you can do again. Do you realize that half of the things that America uses were invented before you was allowed to sit next to white kids? They didn't desegregate the schools because they believe in equality. They desegregated the schools to dumb our children. Those segregated black schools, there might have been one schoolhouse in Detroit. It might have been dilapidated, underfunded, but it rained outside, it might have rained inside. But guess what? That school produced a better African learner than the best looking white private school of Michigan. Because what you fail to recognize is the most important ingredient in education is to love the child you teach. That's why I say no white woman should be teaching our children, because they don't give a damn about our children. And when a child knows that the person in front of the room is not a natural stakeholder in their success, they don't do it best. The child is a direct reflection of the teacher that instructs them. Don't grade the child, grade the teacher. So you got genetic superiority, you got historical accomplishment. What's the third thing? It is the African intellectual genius. They see it on the football field. They see it with Serena Bates. They see it with Tiger, even though he had to be reminded he was black. Listen, they know what you can do when you are left alone. Remember, leaving you alone, you ended up with a cell phone. For those who don't know, we invented the cell phone. You're damn right, that is our words. When they left you alone, you came up with the internet. A lot of y'all don't know that the two most important devices in the technological age that is today came out of the consciousness of African people. I'm not even talking about the refrigerating truck. I'm not even talking about the self-lubricating engine. I'm not even talking about the gas mask. I'm not even talking about the stoplight. I'm not even talking about the radio. I'm not talking about none of that. Just the cell phone and the internet is enough. Brothers and sisters, white folk will always feel some type of way about you. Because even when you down, you have a way of showing grace and class that nobody can understand. It's almost like in your DNA, it is programmed for you to know at a very deep level that no matter how low you can go, you don't care, because you know sooner or later you got to go back to where you started. I don't understand it because you judge Time is cyclical. Everything that has happened comes again. It is the zodiac, it is your earth day, it is your karma. Everything comes back again. So the white man knows that it is written in the stars that you are scheduled to return to the earth. Let me temper that. I study African spirituality. My particular system is E5, practiced by the Yoruba Southwestern Nigeria, but they're all pretty much the same. E5, Akan, Neteru, Dogon, Santeria, Lukumi, Palo, Voodoo, whatever system you have. We believe that we are co-creators in destiny. So Africans are scheduled to return to greatness. But sometimes you can miss your bus if you're not there. And I'm telling you, African people, that although we are scheduled to return to our greatness, if we don't do the work, it will pass us right on by. What do I mean about scheduling? I mean that 2 weeks ago, we celebrated the 150th anniversary of the end of the Civil War. On January 1st, we go to 2016. Numerologically, when you add up 2016, you get 9, which is the number of the ancestors. That means 2016 will be a pivotal year for African people if you connect with your ancestors. We don't just believe in ancestors. We know our ancestors because we are our ancestors. There's even been research to show that when people talk to their own blood, the structure of the blood will change. They live within you, but you have to reach out and grab them. Brothers and sisters, I want to take a quick minute to talk about Willie Lynch. Some people get caught up in the argument as to whether or not Willie Lynch actually existed or not. It doesn't matter. The historical accuracy. I'm only looking for the scientific validity. Is the science articulated in the Willie Lynch letter true and exact? We Africans, don't you know it's our culture to tell the truth through parable? Do you recognize our culture is all about telling the truth by using an allegorical story? The Bible is filled with concrete truths told through historical life. Now, there's a lot in the Willie Lynch letter, but I want to direct you to 3 laws he taught. He told the slave masters of North America, if you do these 3 things, you can control the Negro slaves until the end of time. Strategy number 1, never let your slaves communicate with each other in their native tongue. Force them to use your tongue or something else, but never their own African tongue. Why did Willie Lynch deal with language? Because, and he said, if a people can still communicate in their mother's tongue, it will be difficult for them to ever accept slavery. Because language is the strongest symbol that once upon a time I was somebody. Nothing identifies a people more than shared language. That's why Chinese stick together when they come to America. That's why Arabs stick together. Because if nothing else, we can communicate with each other without white folks understanding what we say. But when can black folks communicate with each other without white folks understanding what we say? Language is important. That's why the Fred Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, we plan on teaching several of them. African language. in Mandarin. After all, look at all the people speaking Arabic, in Spanish, in Mandarin across the world. And you're going to teach Igbo and Zulu and Swahili. For what? How do you liberate the mind of an African child without first giving them another language through which they can liberate themselves? If all you can speak is the white man's tongue, all you can be is a white man's world. We have to give our children a free tongue. I disagree with that because so many people in the world speak Spanish, I think they don't know how to speak Spanish. Are you aware? There's more Nigerians in Nigeria who speak Igbo in Europe than there are Spaniards in Spain. There's more Africans in South Africa who speak Xhosa and Zulu than there are Greeks in Greece. So why are you teaching Greek and not teaching Zulu? Why are you teaching Spanish and not teaching Yoruba? You know why? It has nothing to do with the amount of people speaking. It's about the belief about the people who use that language. And the belief is if your child is going to be successful, 9 times out of 10, they will never be doing business with anyone from that continent that speaks that language. Brothers and sisters, this is why white folks don't like our children speaking so-called broken English. This is why they don't like them speaking hip-hop. They want them to speak standard English, not for the sake of education, but so they can always understand the conversation. It's about security of the white man's society. Not only that, they got you thinking that black kids are speaking broken English. They're wrong. There's not an African child in Detroit that speaks English. Every black child in this city speaks Niger, Congo dialect. The only thing they use from the white man is his vocabulary. That's right, even you too. Everybody in here speaks Ebonics. Even the people who think they speak English speak Ebonics. Listen, when you look at a language, there's different pieces to a language. There's the philosophy of the language. There's the syntax of the language. There's the grammar of the language. There's the morphology of the language. There's the structure of the language. There's the vernacular. The vernacular is the vocab. The only thing our children use from English is their words. Break it down for me some more, Dr. Umar. Sure! West African language, where most of you come from. I know some of y'all came from Morocco, some of y'all came from Mars, and some of y'all came from under the earth, and some of y'all rose up from the sea. I understand, and I respect it. But for those of us who have common sense enough to know where we come from, okay? Because you look just like it, and that's what kills me. Any Negro tell me you're from Africa, I can take you tomorrow and show you 20 people who look just like you that you don't think you're from Africa. So let's kill that philosophical nonsense. In West African tongue, there are no strong consonant endings on words. When our children talk, there are no strong consonant endings on words. Let me give you an example. White people in English say, we are getting ready to have supper with the Thompsons at our home tonight. Do you see the strong consonant? I don't care what West African, you can listen to a Khan, Yoruba, Igbo, Tweet, okay, Senegalese languages. No West African language has strong consonants on the end. And we talk just like them. We just use English words. So we'll say, you fix it, it's something to eat. You see that? In African language structure, we do not enunciate the vowels in the words. We do not enunciate the phonemes. White people value articulation of the terms. African people, in contrast, we do not value the articulation of the term. We value the communication of the intent. Which brings me to number 2. White people value your understanding of exactly what they say. White folks. Black people, we value did you hear everything that I just said? We say, do you feel me? Why do we say, do you feel me, instead of, did you understand what I said? Because African language is not the communication of words. African language is the communication of spirit. I'm not giving you a message. I'm giving you a vibration. Which brings me to my next difference between European language and African language. European language is divided into past, present, and future. I went, I am going, I will be going. African languages does not necessarily have a past, present, and future tense. African language is always based on a here and now, present experience. So when you tell your son when you go home tonight, Jamar, did you take out that garbage? I got that! His answer, he didn't say I did it, I got it! Because we are always becoming. So we don't focus on past and present, we focus on what we got to do with the here and now. Black folks! And I'm going to give you one more. We can be here all day just 1 month. Because I need you to understand. And how did this happen? I need you to understand how this happened. How did your tongue survive when nothing else allowed it to survive? Your spiritual system didn't survive. Your family system didn't survive. Your community system didn't survive. How did your language survive 500 years plus another $1.50? Because the white man forbade you to get an education. And he failed to realize that in not allowing the enslaved African to learn English early on in our sojourn, he was helping you protect your indigenous language. Now, I know we got some bourgeois Negroes here tonight. And some of them are sitting in the audience saying, do you listen to this and never tell this man? Learn those things. Can you not believe this man got 6 degrees? He got the nerve to tell you. You know why they mad? Because bourgeois Negroes think white people don't like your children because your child listens to rap. They think white people don't like your children because his dad is in jail. They think white folks don't like their children because the mom conceived the child without being married. They think they don't like the children because his pants ain't pulled up. You know what y'all need to understand? And you're being told this by a black man with 6 degrees from 3 different white universities. It's not the black language they object to. It's not the dress code they object to. It's not the music or the hairstyle. It's the black DNA that they object to. Nothing your son can do will get him accepted in America. Stop trying to be a white person and be a black person God made you to be. I'm tired of having to take practice. Damn, I'm tired. Be you. Just be you. That's why we say unapologetically African. I ain't making no more excuses for being what God made me. Then Willie Lynch said, the second thing, you have to find petty differences that exist among the Negroes and Detroit and use those petty differences against each other so that you can perfect your system of divide and conquer, separate and rule. He said, put Highland Park against the rest of Detroit. Put the light-skinned Detroiters against the dark-skinned Detroiters. Put the ones with the doctorate against the ones with the masters. The ones with the bachelors against the ones with the diploma. There's ones with a diploma against the high school dropouts. He said, put the Christians against the Muslims. The Sigma Gamma Rose against the Deltas. The AKAs The Alphas against the Qs. The Kappas against the Sigmas. The Iotas against the Grooves. The married women against the single. Can I take it a step further? How about the husband against his wife? The son against his father. They make mama jealous of her daughter. They make one cousin try to destroy the other. And Willie Lynch said, don't you ever think for one moment that any difference is too petty to be used. He said, you will find that Negroes have the most remarkable way of fighting over nothing. And then his last strategy that I will discuss tonight. He said, you must do this one thing. This third thing must be done. If you do this, your system of Negro control is complete. He said, line up all your nigger females. And line up all your nigger children. I don't care how young that child is. Line them up with their mother. And then I want you to find the biggest, meanest, broadest black buck amongst your men. And bring that black man out. It must be the strongest leader amongst the men. And beat him down in front of all the women and all the children on the plantation. Don't kill him, but beat him so bad he will wish for death. And then after that, tar and feather him. Be sure that the black woman is watching as you subdue her man. Because if she does not watch, you will not capture the full effect. And when the little children cry and turn away, force their heads forward to watch what's being done to their daddy. And then tie one leg to one horse facing one direction. And the other leg to another horse facing this direction. And beat both horses simultaneously until they run in opposite directions, splitting that nigger's body into two. He said, if you do this, the natural dependency that the black woman has for the black man, she will lose it. The natural awe that she has in his presence as a protector of her honor, she will lose it. Her natural dependency and commitment to her man to provide, she will go without it. In fact, she will no longer see the black man as anything other than an object of pity. And he said, most important, that black woman, seeing what the white man can do to her son, will raise all of her sons to be cowards, wimps, effeminate, punk-ass little boys. For fear that the white man might do to her son what he did to her husband. Listen to me, black woman. I know you care about your sons. That's your baby. But guess what? God said you here to be a man. And you have no right to clip that boy's testicles off and turn him into a female. Raise him like a man. Make him responsible. Make him accountable. Make him courageous. Make him a man. Because the word man is a root word for the word manifest. Oh, such a name as man is one who can live out his name to manifest. Men must bring forth, or else they cease to be men. Sisters, you're not helping your son by spoiling him. You're not helping him by cuddling him. You're not helping him by clipping his wings. Your job is to help him be man, and you need to find a man because it takes one to make one. Brothers and sisters, we will be going back to Africa this year. This time, Senegal and Ghana. Last year, we went to Egypt and Ghana. Got a chance to see the Great Pyramids. And I got a chance to go into the Great Pyramid. Got a chance to get up on the Sphinx. Look close at it. I tried to go to the top of the pyramid, but my nerves wouldn't let me go all the way up. So I went about halfway, and I let the sisters keep on for me. I started having a panic attack, so I had to get out of it. The sisters went all the way to the top of the Great Pyramid. I couldn't do that. I ain't with heights. But we had a wonderful time. And I saw the greatness of our obligation. But some of y'all mistake the intent with the manifestation. Don't get caught up in the sticks and the pyramids and the tombs and all that. Get caught up in the character and integrity that are brought forth. At our basic level, African people are builders and constructors. So the greatest tribute you can pay to Hatshepsut in Ramesses and Sniffle is not to go sniffing around the pyramids, but to build the institutions that Black Detroit needs right now. Listen, it's easy to march, easy to protest, easy to fight, easy to boycott, easy to burn down. That only take a minute, but to build up consistently what your community needs, that takes effort, money, consistency, dedication, motivation. Progress is never backwards. It is only forward. Sometimes it is necessary to work. Sometimes it is necessary to move. Sometimes it is necessary to boycott, to march, to protest. I defended every protest that took place. Every one. They were necessary signs that we had had enough. But all the protesting in Ferguson have rebuilt a single institution. All the protesting in New York have rebuilt a single institution there. All the protesting in Charleston, in Charlotte, Tommy Rice, in Cleveland, where I'll be January 30th. What have you built? Stop thinking that by resisting white oppression, you're helping blacks. That's one part, but the other part is to build. What does every good boxer do? He must defend a punch. And right after he defends a punch, he has to throw one. So you can burn down the white institution, but right after you burn down the white one, you have to build a black one. Otherwise, you become another Negro reactionary to white supremacy. How many of us know these types? They only exist to resist. They don't exist to create. They don't exist to construct. They don't exist to build. All they had, you gotta go battle the cops, you gotta battle this, battle the mayor, battle the governor, battle that. That's cute, but that's reaction. Where's the pro-action? You know why we love to react? Because we're so full of anger and hate. It takes love to build something. So if you want to go to Dr. Umar, go with Dr. Umar to Senegal and Nigeria, Senegal and Ghana. We always go the same time. Last week of July, first week in August. The trip will be approximately $4,000. I don't make any money off of the trip, but the travel agent does. I know. I'm going to take you to the Elbany slave country, Cape Coast slave country, Asa Mansour in Ghana, the last place our ancestors were allowed to wash their bodies before they marched to the slave country. You will go through a traditional African naming ceremony where you will get your own African name by an official king of Africa. At the time when they go there to study, the real kings. Okay, cut it out. Okay? Don't take her, cut it out. Okay? Sisters, if you want, you're able to get your African hair done. If you desire to get an African spiritual reading, most of us who went last year, we all got a spiritual reading from a traditional Akan priest, one of the most famous in the world. You can also get your African dashikis made, African clothing. They're cheap, by the way. Very cheap. Dashikis is like $20 handmade. Okay? You're going to go to the Prince Museum, Senegal, you're going to go to Pink Lake, you're going to go to Royale, the National Museum, eat good African food, you're going to go to the nightclub, some of y'all like the party. And guess what? They got blunts in Africa too. So those y'all like to start. get into little Nanny balls and big Nanny balls where the Queen Mother used to meditate before they went into battle. You get you some of that good Jamaican soul food, seafood, get into one of those natural Jamaican baths where the water is naturally hot. I can't get in there. That's going to set off another scandal. Nobody tell you who it is no more. One day you're a homeschooler, next day you're a dance hour. But anyway, that's 2015. We started fresh in 2016. And I appreciate those of y'all who roll with me through that whole nonsense. I appreciate y'all for riding with Dr. Umar Johnson, who's actually out here doing some damn work and not just running his mouth. When you dusty ass playheads, you get the middle finger. Ain't no way. Hell out of here. How many kids I done kept out of special ed? How many prisons I done been to? How many kids I done kept out of jail? Are you crazy? If I speak a million times, that means I've helped 2 million children. Brothers and sisters, we're going to go to Haiti. We're going to go on the Haitian Revolution tour. We're going to visit. You're going to see a traditional African voodoo ceremony. We will also go to Mexico, where you can visit the ancient pyramids of your ancestors in Mexico. So, if you don't like flying, you might want to take the boat. If you don't like the water, you might want to take the air. Some of y'all might want to go to the cruise, they go back. You can do both, because I have to do both. I have to be in. Okay? But you know what I'm really looking forward to? I'm looking forward to the Dr. Umar Johnson Black Boy College. Yep. 11 to 17-year-old black boys. We're going to have a North tour out of Harlem, a South tour out of Atlanta. The North tour, we're going to take your son to the Audubon Ballroom, which is now the Malcolm Convention Center. That's where Brother Malcolm was from. We're going to take him to the Schomburg Center for Research of Black Culture. Off the Schomburg, Puerto Rican African, first and systematically studied Black history, close friend of Marcus Hall. We're going to take him to the Apollo Theater. We're also going to take him to the Great Blacks and Whites Museum in Baltimore. Lincoln and Cheney University, the 2 oldest black colleges, Coppin State, Morgan State, Bowie State. We're going to take him to the Frederick Douglass House. And then we're going to take him to Talbot County, Maryland, where my ancestors is buried, so they can see where Frederick Douglass was raised as a child. And then we're going to take him to Virginia, to the Nat Turner line, where Nat Turner let that bloody slave roll, where some see that whole experience. In the daytime, they visit places. In the evening, it's seminars. What to do when you get stopped by the police. Why you need to respect black women. How to start your own business. Understand the rights of peace. African history. Culture! South Tour. Martin Luther King, Great Martin Luther King Museum. National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis. The Selma African Holocaust Museum. Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. Tuskegee University. The George Washington Park Museum at Tuskegee. The Oyotunji African Village in South Carolina. The Charleston, South Carolina boat trail. Because you know 60% of the black people in America, your ancestors came through the port of Charleston. If there is any holy place by Africans in this world, in this country, Charleston, South Carolina. And we're going to take the sons to experience that. So if you have a black boy who you love and care about between the ages of 11 and 17, who need to be with me for 8 nights and 9 days, you need to sign them on up. Registration will be kicking off the first day of Black History Month, February 1st. You can sign up for the North Tour or the South Tour, and you can sign up for both. Now, Detroit, you don't live in Atlanta, you don't live in New York, so that means what? You either want to fly into me, you can mega bus into me, you can Amtrak into me. You can probably even Chinese bus into me, but I don't know if you're sure, but you don't know that Chinese. But anyway, however you need to get your son to Dr. Umar, you communicate. Now we'll pick him up from the airplane, the train, or the bus station. Let you know I got him. Take him on the tour. The day after the tour ends, put him back on the plane, the bus, or the train. So you ain't got to go yourself unless you want to drive. You don't have to. Just communicate with me where he is, and myself or one of the chaperones will get to him. I'm doing this because I cannot wait until the school is up and running for me to start working with our boys and girls. As we prepare to round up, as I prepare to bring this to a close, bear with me, we'll be done in 10 minutes. And when we are done, we're going to go in the room on the other side of the shrine where all the vendors are waiting. And I want you to do me a favor, brothers and sisters, tonight. We was at the Houston Shrine of Black Madonna on Saturday. And the vendors at the Houston Shrine, most of them sold out of all their product or nearly all of their product. The day before yesterday, we was in the Atlanta Shrine. And most of this vendors sold out before the event was even over. Tonight, we celebrate Dr. Umar's last election of 2015. There's no better way than you can pay respect not to me. Because what I do is being guided by the ancestors. Pay respect to our people. I want everybody in here to buy just one thing from one thing. If everyone here buys just one thing from one vendor, most of them will leave with no product left. You bought enough of it from Walmart, and enough of it from Kmart, and enough of it from Toys R Us, and Radio Shack, and Cyber Monday, and Black Friday. I want you to support our vendors. I will also be signing books, and I have my t-shirts and my DVDs over there as well. And yes, you can use credit card, and I will not leave until I sign every book and take every picture. But let me say this as we depart. Bear with me, my ADHD-adults. And let me say, Detroit, Minister Shabazz already told you earlier, I'm coming back to Detroit in January to walk through some of the public schools that the city has. You all have helped me raise over $500,000 for the FPMG. I can't keep waiting to get to $2 million. So we can buy one of these schools in Detroit. One of the bigger ones. I don't need the small one. I need some with some size and some land around it. I heard about a Robertson High School. I heard about a Cooley High School. And I heard about some other high schools that got land and football fields and tracks around it. If I can get one of them from the city at a reasonable price and get it rehab at a reasonable price, I don't see why we can't start school in September of 2016. So that's what we're working on. I want to leave out with my quote from my ancestor, Frederick Douglass, who said, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess the favor of freedom and depreciate agitation are like men who want crops without pulling up the ground. They want rain but can't stand the thunder or the lightning. They want ocean but can't stand the awful roar of its waters. He said the struggle we have might be moral, or it might be physical, or it might be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. He said for 20 years I prayed on my knees to God for freedom. But the good Lord gave Frederick no freedom until I got up off my knees and started praying with my feet. He said if you want respect from white people, stop looking for pity. The man who pities you will never respect you, and the man who respects you will never pity you. He said, but most of all, remember, power concedes nothing without the name. It never did and it never will. The first of my ancestors brought to America was a black man named Belly, stolen from West Africa. He was brought to Talbot County, Eastern Shore, Maryland. His sons will go visit that on the tour. He married a black woman named Selah. 1745, they had Grandma G. 1774, 2 years before the Declaration of Independence, Grandma G gave birth to Grandma Betsy. Grandma Betsy married a free black man named Isaac. They had 12 children. Amongst whom was a daughter named Harry and a daughter named Betsy. These two sisters, one of whom was my 5 times great-grandmother, who was raped by Aaron Anthony, the slave master owned our family. As a result of that rape in 1818, the greatest black leader in American history was born, Frederick Bell. He would escape from slavery to freedom, and he would drop his name Bailey and pick up Douglas, not because he didn't like his name, but in order to hide away from his slave master, who had the right to put him back in chains under the fugitive slave law. Well, the next year, my little sister was raped, young Betsy, my 5 times great-grandma, giving birth to Frederick Douglass's half-brother and first cousin, my 4 times great-grandfather, Steve. Half-brother, because the slave master was their dad. First cousin, because their mothers were sisters. As a result, Grandpa Stephen married Grandma Caroline. Their firstborn son was George Washington Bell, my 3 times great-grandfather, who went on to become the first black public school teacher in Talbot County, Maryland. When the Civil War was over, after they fought in, Grandpa George married Grandma King. They had a daughter named Caroline. Caroline moved to Philadelphia. She had a daughter named Vivian. Vivian married a Spanish-speaking Cuban immigrant named Cicero. They had a daughter named Ida. Ida met and married James Johnson in Philadelphia. They had a son named